We are live on both YouTube and Rumble. Let me know if the audio is working fine. Just drop a comment below and I'll read them. Well, anyways, we're here to talk about Bitcoin. Well, welcome back. Well, I haven't said welcome back. So welcome back to another stream on Jam Crypto. I changed some lighting here because I feel like the last one was a little bit too dark. I prefer now. Got some purple lighting in the background and I also changed my outfit. This is actually a scarf, so I tie a knot at the back and turn it into a vest. I'm liking it. I'm in a good mood, but not so much for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is dipping a little bit. So first of all, we're gonna take a look at the chart. So yeah, hide this. So as always, going to look at the chart and then we're going to dive into the news. Why Bitcoin is dropping. We got a lot to cover today, so let's dive right in. First of all, like Bitcoin is, well, I warned you guys about this descending triangle. So we are seeing the momentum building within this triangle. So we're bound to have like a dip. This is just what the chart TA has been telling us. So we see lower highs and lower lows. And then if you also take the height of the triangle and do it at the breakout point, you get 110K. Obviously, we broke the major support of 115K. But yeah, that's okay because based on the chart, based on the triangle, the next major support will be 110K. And this is justified by the descending triangle. And also, if you go back to the previous all-time high, is roughly about 110K as well. So that's one thing. And if you go back to the previous chart, previous price history, there isn't much support around between 110K and 115K. So that's also another concern, I would say. But it's okay to build some momentum here. So if you ask me, the one thing I want to see is that we trade with bad drawing, sorry. So we trade within this region and build some support. That's one thing I want to see. If not, more likely or not, I'm just saying what the charts have been telling me, we're likely to drop to 110K. And that's okay because we have to reset the RSI a little bit. Yeah, so that's the chart for Bitcoin. What happened? What is causing this dip? So obviously on 30th of July, we have this Fed meeting. Fed decided to hold interest rate at 4.25 to 4.5%, and that wasn't a rate cut, and that was no surprise. Like that is expected already. But what people care about is the next move. Like the Fed, based on what the Fed is saying, inflation is still sticky. But I don't trust the CPI report so much. I think it's heavily manipulated. And also, there's like a lag effect. It's not reflecting instantly for the true inflation rate. So I much rather go to truflation. So right now, we are at 1.67%, which is good. Like people are saying the tariffs were going to bring inflation, but that doesn't look like it's the case. So yeah, another thing is another key point is that labor market still remains strong, but there are early signs of weakness. So the Fed is saying it's going to wait and see mode. And Jerome Powell has been saying this, like if it wasn't for tariffs, there has been a rate cut already, but he wants to be cautious. So that's also okay too. But what does this mean for Bitcoin, right? At the end of the day, the macro still affect Bitcoin hugely. So the rate that they remain the rate constant, which is neutral to the market, and there was no surprise there as well. But like rate cuts equal more liquidity, and more liquidity flow into the market also equivalent to bullishness for Bitcoin. So people are looking forward to the next one, which is in September, if there's going to be a rate cut. Obviously, this is changing every single day. So people are saying, so 58% of people are saying that the Fed going to remain the rate steady at what it is right now at 4.3%, 4.5%. All right, and then 41% of people think there will be a 25 basis points rate cut. But this, again, we are still in July, so there's like still 6 weeks to come. Let's see how the market thinks about it. Obviously, if we have a rate cut, there'll be like a global liquidity expansion. If you go back to the, let's pull out the global liquidity. Oh, by the way, sorry about that, because in the last stream, you guys told me the screen is too small. I'm not sure if it's too small right now. Let me know in the chat if you can read what I'm reading here. But like, I was saying the global liquidity. And by the way, there's like a huge correlation. Some people argue that the global liquidity has nothing to do with Bitcoin price, but if you zoom out and actually look at the trend, it's followed quite nicely. Although there's like a lag in Bitcoin price, that I'll admit. The reason why I say this is that, well, by the way, Forbes actually say there's a 0.94 correlation between global M2 and Bitcoin price. So I'm not just like throwing random number here. There's a correlation, but there's also a historical lag. Bitcoin tends to react to global liquidity like 60 days later, 60 days after. So, which is like we could play some really good trades here if you want to trade the market. And what the chart, like the global liquidity is telling us is that if you go back to, like, let's say 2020, when we have, oh, there you go. So March 2020, because of the COVID, and then central banks around the world have to start printing money, start all this easing. Obviously, immediate reaction was like the global liquidity going up, but there's a lag in terms of the Bitcoin price. But only like 2 months later, we see this huge rally for the Bitcoin price. So I don't know why people disagree with this correlation, but it is what it is. I'm just saying what I see in the chart. So yeah, well, the market is saying that there will be like 1 to 2 rate cuts in in this year, so 2025, basically. I don't know if that is really going to be the case, because at the end of the day, like Q1, Q2, Q3 doesn't really matter for 2025. We know that there's not going to be a rate cut from what Jerome Powell has been saying. So everyone is watching Q4. Q4 is when it matters. We're going to look at the inflation, the tariffs, political risk and stuff. But Donald Trump is doing deals like, he's like a machine. Like there's like so many tariff deals being done. Obviously, we have the EU one with the Japan one. The China one is still in talks. I think there's a deadline in August, like mid-August. So let's see if there's going to be like an actual deal being done or there's a further delay. Yeah, so I'm watching the market closely. And then Q4 is the key. What Fed wants is more data, inflation, GDP growth. So yeah, that's pretty much for what the Fed has been doing and also for the Bitcoin charts. Let's also move on to the next segment I want to cover because it's a pretty big one. So the White House crypto report. What happened? I think it was on the 30th of July or 31st of July. Well, 30th of July. So there's this long-awaited White House report for crypto. So people were expecting there will be like crypto stockpile, strategic reserve, but we didn't get any of that. Well, we did get some bullish news, but the market expected too much. That's all I say. That's all I would say. So what we got finally from this White House release is that, okay, we have the framework for regular assets, more powerful to a CFTC instead of the SEC. That's bullish news for us crypto folks, because we lean toward like treating crypto as an asset instead of security. So CFT is a bonus for us. And then this is going to be fully aligned with Genius Act, the stablecoin regulation that being passed, being signed by Donald Trump, and also like opposition to CBDC. That's one thing us crypto folks don't like, but there's no mention of a national Bitcoin reserve whatsoever. It was more like a regulatory roadmap, not like a moonshot announcement. Yeah, it is what it is. But like there's some key recommendation. Like the CFTC oversee crypto spot market, so Bitcoin, ETH, etc., and it's developing like a disclosure rules for crypto security. So I don't know why people are so bearish on this. Maybe like it is what it is. The markets are very looking. If there's like discrepancy between expectation and the actual stuff that they deliver, there's like a dip in the market. But what I like is that finally the SEC is no longer controlled by Gary Gensler. So instead of lawsuits, we have actual rules that regulate crypto in a more like friendly and collaborative way. So yeah, let's give you, I'm sure like not a lot of people would know his background. So this guy, Paul Atkins, he is the new SEC chair, if you didn't know that already. So who's this guy? So he has this like, he's the CEO and founder of a financial service firms called Potomac Global Partners. And then his job is to like build business strategy, regulatory compliance, and support. And he has also been a SEC commissioner back in between 2002 to 2008. So that's his background. Like what I could read from this bio is that he's definitely, first of all, pro-business, not like people like Gary Gensler against innovation and stuff, because, well, he has been building business strategy for years now. So definitely pro-business, anti-overreach. And he's also a crypto advocate. That's something that we like, right? Yeah, so that's for the new SEC. He's not only changing the tone, he's flipping the playbook, I would say. It's more like a cultural shift by the SEC. That's just something we never got before. And the reason why I brought him up is not just about the White House crypto report. That is like a few days ago, so forget about that, people. Like, let's move on. We have this like new project crypto launched by the SEC under this Paul Atkins guy. So what is this about? First of all, he outlaid a roadmap for the SEC, emphasizing clear rules for Bitcoin custody, trading, allowing intermediaries such as exchanges to become super apps offering a range of services. And it also highlights the importance of modernizing custody requirements, fostering experimentation with on-chain technologies, including tokenizing traditional assets. So RWA, and obviously the next major bullish thing governments are on about is like tokenizing bonds, because that's what the US government want. Like people hold the bonds and basically foot the government bill. Yeah, so it is what it is. Maybe I put it too bluntly, but I like to be honest on this channel. So, and then there's like this guy is asking companies to return to the US, because when we were still under Gary Gensler era, Gary Gensler was so hostile to all these like US innovation, and they basically forced these founders to other countries like Portugal or whatever. But under this new guy, so this Paul Atkin guys, is asking, okay, we are under a more friendly regulation here, like a friendly environment. You can come back to the US, come back to the country. And this is also establishing a safe harbor for ICOs, airdrops, like network rewards. So, which is great stuff. Yeah, so I think people are not reading enough. That's why it's causing this dip in the market. Like again, like Paul Atkins is saying all this bullish stuff, but people like to focus on the bear. I don't know why. Like what I'm reading into this news is that if US becomes crypto hub, and US is like the most powerful and most important country in this world, whether we like it or not, but it is what it is. Like if US becomes a crypto hub, like Europe will basically have to shut up, because Euro, like the EU's Nika right now, is so outdated. Like all of a sudden, if like US is becoming crypto hub, they're going to be outdated overnight. And Asia also needs to take a closer look and offer more clarity, I would say. Because if you look at the region among the whole world, Asia is most like crypto adopted among the whole world across the region. The reason why maybe is because of payments. We have to send around USDT. Stablecoins is being majorly used in Asia. Some of the Asian countries like Vietnam, Philippines. Philippines, again, it was like really big on GameFi. That's why we have seen Axie Infinity absolutely take off. It's because of Asia. But one thing Asia lack, I would say, is clarity. Like despite all these Asian countries are using so much crypto already on a day-to-day basis, there isn't much, like it's still in a gray area, I would say, not like the US offering a comprehensive rule regulation over crypto. And also countries like the UAE and Singapore, maybe they would pivot from, like, it was originally they were leaders, right? But right now they are followers. And maybe Hong Kong as well. Like Hong Kong need to catch up. So that's really beneficial to the crypto market, because clarity equals to capital. Capital kind of flows into jurisdiction with rules, not rulers. That's why I think people are taking this news lightly, and I don't know why. Like the sentiment on X is a little bit mixed, like mostly bullish in the long term, but like bearish for like a short-term disappointment over the BTC reserve. But if you think about it, this is really good for builders and VCs who are excited about regulatory certainty. So markets didn't move, but minds did shift. That's what I noticed, because builders got a green light, basically. So don't just look at the near term, people. Like even in the near term, we have something to be happy about, because CFTC is likely to manage the crypto market, and we, like Congress may pick up stablecoin expansion next, and then long term, US could lead in tokenized securities. Bitcoin would definitely see much greater Wall Street adoption. Obviously, there's still work to be done, like clarity on DeFi, privacy coins. That's another major topic we could discuss next, and then maybe DAOs. All right, so that's for the SEC and the Fed. Let's also move on to next major news that happened on 31st of July, so literally just yesterday. So MicroStrategy had a quarterly earning, and the earning per share beat by $32.62, which is better than the forecast. So slightly better than forecast, I think. Yes, okay, better than forecast by 10 cents basically. And then quick summary, there's like a revenue of 114 million. Oh, by the way, can you guys see the screen? Because people commented that you guys couldn't see it. I just zoomed closer. Let me know in the chat if you can see it now. Yeah, so that's the summary. So revenue 114 million ahead of expectation, and then there's like 14 billion unrealized gain on Bitcoin performance. There's a change of the accounting standard in the US. That's why kind of is playing into favor for MicroStrategy. And then yeah, MicroStrategy isn't just like a Bitcoin bet. It's like a now revenue generating, earnings beating Wall Street listed Bitcoin juggernaut. So I'm liking that. And how many of you hold MicroStrategy? Because I bought MicroStrategy 2 years ago. I share that alpha on my Twitter. If you haven't followed my Twitter, make sure you do that, because I do like analysis like that whenever I feel like something interesting. So obviously, what's the impact for MSTR and Bitcoin shares? I mean, Bitcoin's price. Why was it Bitcoin shares? Well, I talk about this with Fernando because I do Bitcoin show with Fernando every single week on his Twitter and on his YouTube. By the way, if you haven't followed him, it's called The Bitcoin Libertarian. So make sure to follow him, and you will see me there on a weekly show as well. So most often than not, if you look at the previous data, so like 5 times of the quarterly earning, they're like 4 times it was bearish for the MSTR price, but this time was in was not what I expected, I would say, because why we got like a positive price and in MSTR, there's like a earning beat the expectation. Like market always trade from expectation versus the actual delivery. If market expected worse, but it came out better, there's always positive sign for the price of MSTR or the underlying asset. So what happened of this quarterly earning is that MSTR stock rose 1.6% after hours and closing at $397. Well, let me know if any of you guys watched my previous video. Well, it was a short, but I wrote a tweet about MSTR why I got in, and I think I got it in at like $120. So if you caught that video, you guys are doing really well. So congratulations on that. So let's go back to the earning. MSTR stock rose after hours, but Bitcoin stayed steady at 117K like yesterday, somewhere around that. So it's trading within that region. Okay, so why not BTC pump? Earnings are bullish, but macro factors still control BTC price in short term. That's why we didn't see a major pump, because if you look at the past data, most often than not, BTC stay flat. But there's like some volatility for MSTR. In most cases, MSTR would dip, apart from yesterday, because we have good earning report. So if you also look at how much MicroStrategy or strategy, I don't like to call it strategy because I feel like it's causing confusion. So I'm just going to stick with MicroStrategy if that works for you guys. So they are holding. Wait, how much bigger? Okay, so they're holding 628,000 BTC. Right now, they are the biggest Bitcoin treasury company and the biggest listed companies that hold that much Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So yeah, the fair value is well, the fair value is $74 billion. And then the BTC yield is, BTC yield, where's the BTC yield? It's 25, okay, 25%, there you go. So 25% is rising. That's why people is liking what they saw. And then obviously the reason why they managed to raise that much money to buy Bitcoin is, well, we talked about that in our previous deep dive video. First is through preferred equity. So, well, they had this live stream yesterday, but it's like 2 hours long. If you guys want to watch that, you could go on Twitter and watch the full version. But if you don't got time, if you don't get time, I'm just gonna give you the key takeaway. So there are two ways for MicroStrategy to raise money. First is through preferred equity. So all these like STLF, STLK, STLD, and there's this new style, STLC. It's called Stretch, I think. Yeah. So this new star, STLC, apparently is the largest US IPO in 2025. And there was like $6.3 billion being raised in just preferred equity outstanding. And obviously the second biggest way, like the method for MicroStrategy to raise so much money is through convertible debt. So they're not really debt. They could be equity if the MSTL price rose to a certain level. So they are not count as debt. And from that, they're like 8 billion notional. And then usually the average maturity is 4.7 years. So the key takeaway is that they are raising a lot of money to buy Bitcoin without much without much investment. So you could say MicroStrategy is printing money out of thin air, but they have successfully turned Bitcoin into like a financial engine, like offering high yield, collateral backed products at scale. Well, do let me know if any of you guys buy STLC or stuff like that. They have like some of them, they have cumulative dividends. Some of them don't. Like if you prefer more like stable investment, yet still have some Bitcoin exposure, you could consider that, I suppose. But like personally, I'd much rather to have MSTL where the upside is not capped. And the reason, some people would ask me, why would I buy or hold MSTL if I hold Bitcoin already? Because first of all, if you look at the NAV, like it's trading higher, like 1.57x above the Bitcoin's price. So that means the return is better than Bitcoin. So that's why I would hold both. And I'm bullish on MicroStrategy on the long term as well, so as Bitcoin. But whereas some people will ask me, like, if you compare to MetaPlanet, like there are so many Bitcoin treasury companies getting in, by the way. Like almost every single day you see new company basically copying what Michael Saylor has been doing. Some of them are zombie companies. MetaPlanet was a zombie company as well. It's basically the Japanese version of Michael Saylor. MetaPlanet was like a hotel chain in Japan, but because it was like under so much financial distress, they had no choice to adopt Bitcoin. But because of that, the stock absolutely skyrocketed. And right now, the group is doing so well. They are even purchasing, like buying other listed companies across Asia. They bought one in Korea, they bought another one in Thailand, using the same playbook. But the reason why people would invest into different Bitcoin treasury company is like the NAV, like how much return they could get compared to BTC. Because most often not, like think about these like treasury company, they're like a leverage play on Bitcoin. So some degen, like if you guys are really into that degen stuff, then maybe you get like maybe MetaPlanet. So and if 2.47 X. So compared to MicroStrategy, there's like even more volatility. NAV, by the way, is net asset value. So the reason why it's like a few X, or can I go back to MicroStrategy? Okay. Is that they only hold maybe one Bitcoin, but the market is treating as if they hold 1.58x Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So that's how you got that that yield if you guys are into that thing. But I personally, I'm only interested in MicroStrategy at the moment because they are the biggest one, and then they got in early. Because if you look at the average buy for MicroStrategy, like per Bitcoin is where's the like 72K or something. All right, but like average buy for MicroStrategy is 72K. Is like relatively low compared to Bitcoin's market price. So I personally, if I were invest into the treasury play, I'll always go with the biggest one, which is MicroStrategy. Like the others, maybe if I have an even more degen mindset, or if I'm constantly trading the market, that will consider. But obviously, like this channel is not financial advice. This is just financial opinion. You need to know the risks as well, even for MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy, of course, there's still like risks tied to Bitcoin volatility, and there's like a saturation of products. Like look at all these like companies trying to copy, but those are quite dangerous because if they don't manage the debt to equity ratio carefully, then we might see like a bubble forming. But again, a bubble, for it to burst, it takes sometimes months, sometimes even years. So maybe we're just like at the beginning of bubble, but just be cautious when the musical chairs stop. And then and other like risks that people talk about MicroStrategy is the transparency, but it is a listed company, so it does audit, like I think quarterly audit for listed companies. So, but it doesn't have that proof of reserve. So some people don't like that, but personally, I wouldn't take that as like, I would take it as a pinch of salt. So yeah, so that's for MSTL. Let me know if you guys hold any, but MSTL is definitely not just a software firm. I think the software firm is like a fraction of what Bitcoin is generating to the company right now. So if BTC stays strong, I think like MSTL earning will only grow. Even if BTC cools down, like they are still like very diversified when it comes to capital instrument. Like MicroStrategy subscription business still bringing in steady flow, and it has transparency. Yeah, and then so this earning, I would say, is a, let's go back to earnings. So this earning, I would say, is like a historical earning course. MicroStrategy isn't just riding Bitcoin, is redefining corporate finance with it. So yeah, I like what I see. All right, so before we end this stream, make sure to subscribe me there on YouTube. Yes, so you can find my handle Gem Crypto on YouTube. On Rumble, I'm new to Rumble, so let me know if you guys like this format. Like I really appreciate feedback. Yeah, let me know if the screen works for you guys now, if you can see the screen clearly, because last time you mentioned the screen was a little bit too small. So let me know if there's anything I could improve, because I do have aim to do this like constantly. I want to do even a daily live stream, but like sometimes I'm a little bit packed. But I'll promise I'll do like at least 3 live streams every single week. So make sure to follow me there on YouTube, on Rumble, and on Twitter. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.